Hi Eladim. Today I have a new story. It's called Sammy Spider's New Friend. Sammy Spider's New Friend. Welcoming new neighbors. Sammy Spider dangled from his web next to an open window in the Shapiro's kitchen. Josh was helping Mrs. Shapiro mix a batter in a bowl. "What are they doing?" Sammy called to his mother, who was busy spinning a web on the ceiling. "They are making a cake for the new family moving in next door," answered Mrs. Spider. Sammy was listening. "When the cake is done," Mrs. Shapiro told Josh, "we will take it over to welcome our new neighbors who have just moved here from Israel." "Can we bake a cake too?" Sammy asked his mother. "Silly little Sammy," she answered. "Spiders don't bake cakes. Spiders spin webs." Just then, Mr. Shapiro came into the kitchen. "Should we also bring a loaf of bread and some salt?" he asked. "It is a Jewish custom to bring these when someone moves into a new home," he explained to Josh. "It is our wish that they enjoy many happy meals together." "Why don't we just bring some pita and hummus?" suggested Josh. "Pita is an Israeli bread and hummus is a salty dip." "What a great idea," said his dad. I see the moving van. Sammy wished that he could welcome the new neighbors too. He gazed out the window and watched the men unloading boxes from a big truck. Suddenly, a breeze snapped a strand of webbing and carried the little spider high into the air. "Mother, I'm flying!" Sammy shouted with glee. "Try to catch me!" "Silly little Sammy, spiders don't fly. Spiders spin webs." Mrs. Spider watched helplessly as the breeze swept Sammy out the window. He drifted into the neighbor's yard and landed gently in the branches of a tree. Right over here. "Come back when the wind calms down," she called to him. Sammy heard someone crying. He lowered himself on a strand of webbing. A small boy was sitting against the trunk of a tree, weeping softly. The boy looked up and saw Sammy. "Shalom, Akavish," he said, drying his eyes. Sammy remembered that people in Israel spoke Hebrew. He knew that shalom could mean hello or goodbye, but he didn't know the meaning of the word Akavish. The boy seemed so sad that Sammy decided to spin a web to cheer him up. He spun faster and faster, and soon the little boy began to smile. "I've made a new friend," thought Sammy, "and he looks happy to have a new friend too." As Sammy finished his web, he saw the Shapiros come up the walkway. Mrs. Shapiro was carrying a cake, Mr. Shapiro was carrying pita and hummus, and Josh was carrying a blanket, a bat, and a ball. When the little boy saw the visitors, he ran inside to get his mother and father. The families introduced themselves. The little boy, whose name was Moti, helped Josh spread the blanket under the table. Everyone sat down to enjoy the food and to get to know each other. Afterwards, Sammy watched Josh and Moti play ball. Then they took turns on the big tree swing, and when they got tired, they settled down to a game of checkers. Sammy was happy to see Josh and Moti laughing and having fun together. When the Shapiros got ready to leave, Sammy waited as Josh folded the blanket and tossed it over his shoulder. The little spider climbed on to catch a ride home. "Goodbye, friend," said Josh. Moti turned to Josh and said, "Shalom, Chaver." He said it in Hebrew, and Josh responded in English, "Goodbye, friend." Then Moti smiled up at Sammy and winked. Shalom Akavish. I guess Haver means friend, but what does Akavish mean? Sammy wondered as he snuggled into the blanket. What do you think Akavish means? Shalom Akavish. Mrs. Spider was waiting in her web when Sammy returned. Mother, I made a new friend today. His name is Moti, and he speaks Hebrew. I watched him play ball with Josh, and when I left, he said, Shalom Akavish. I know what shalom means, but I don't know the word Akavish. Maybe I can find out the next time I see him. Can I play ball with him tomorrow? Silly little Sammy, laughed Mrs. Spider. An Akavish doesn't play ball. An Akavish spins webs. And that's the end. Here it is showing us the mitzvah that Josh was doing, Josh and his family were doing with the new neighbors. It says the Jewish custom of hospitality. It's called Hachnasat Orchim. It goes back to the time of Abraham and Sarah, who invited 3 strangers into their tent and provided them with food and shelter. Sammy learned about this important mitzvah as he watched the Shapiro family welcome their new neighbors. And now, let's see the new words. We know the word shalom, which means hello, goodbye, or peace. The word chaver, which now we know it means friend. And the word akavish, you figured out that means spider. All right, Yeladim. Bye.